'Cause we're down your way, da-da-da-da, we're always down your way, da-da-da-da, because I'm down your way, da-da-da-da, I'm always down your way, da-da-da-da. Crikey.
And as the strains of the Downs Your Way theme tune fade away, something that we must either give up altogether or re-record, or
I kind of like it the way it is.
well, possibly.
It's off the cuff.
Nobody's complained anyway. Anyway, I welcome to this version of the podcast two characters. Number one is Rebecca. Say hello, Rebecca.
Hello, Rebecca.
And number two in the background somewhere is Ralph,
Oh.
who may or may not make a contribution.
But if you do hear squeaking, it's me. No, it's Ralph.
Now, I'm saying this with some trepidation. If all goes according to plan, people observing, participating in, or whatever the right word is, in YouTube will be able to see a video this time. If it
How
doesn't
exciting!
if it doesn't go according to plan,
You
I'll
won't
have to
see
cut
one.
this little part of the thing out. So
Yeah.
I'm now going to leave a short gap. Anyway, so welcome, Rebecca. The purpose of today's broadcast is to talk about the exciting news that your next album is due for release on the 9th of April.
I'm very excited.
And pre-orders are available at rebeccadowns.com/shop. That may not be the only time you hear that in the course of this
Won't be if you give it a chance. So, yeah.
podcast. And we have some examples of the wares on offer knocking around for those who can see it.
Yeah.
It's not a very good effect for radio or
Yeah,
/podcast.
yeah, exactly. Got your booklets, got your CDs, roll up, etc. Anyway, carry on, Colin.
Yes, it's been a while since you've needed to do that, what with not gigging, isn't it?
I know.
So let's go back to the beginning.
Should we go back to the start? Sorry.
Even I had not done that one. Even I had resisted the opportunity to try that one out. I think it probably would have been something like the 7th time it had been used since we started doing these podcasts. So I thought it was probably time to retire it gracefully from the scene. But anyway.
Apologies.
No, that's fine. No, it's if you do it, you can't complain afterwards, can you? So what stimulated the idea? Where did the idea come from, first of all, to do a strip back out?
Well, we've always had it in our minds to do an album like this. As you know, we keep going on about it, sorry, but we are songwriters and we do write quite a considerable amount of songs. Some of which are really fitted to the album we're working on at the time, and some of which aren't. And we had a lot of tracks kind of rolled up that we thought, oh, these would be great on a stripped back album, but we didn't want to just bring out a whole original stripped back album because that's not really where we are. But we just thought, being that we'd done all the streams, the live streams, and we'd stripped back the songs to do that, people seemed to be enjoying them. We were definitely enjoying playing them. So we just thought, why don't we bring out a stripped back album? And then some amazing person, if you want to show us yourself, say your name when you hear this, we were doing a live gig for Richard Dunning's Tuesday Night Music Club on Zoom. And somebody said, are there going to be any original numbers on there? And me and Steve just looked at each other and thought, well, there wasn't going to be, but what a great idea, because we've got, so many songs that would fit that. So our favourites, and the ones we thought would fit in the best on this album, are Blues for Us, the single, and Washing All Over My Heart. So basically, that's where it all came from, and that's where the two originals came from.
The album's been produced in a completely different way. So can you say a little bit about the way it gestated and how you put it together?
Well, a lot of the time, it's gone through various stages of lockdown. So sometimes me and Steve could get together because we've got a company, so we were kind of allowed to get together. And then there has been a few times when that just didn't seem like the right thing to do. So basically, we'd have sessions where I open a video chat and we would both be working on stuff, and I'd be recording a vocal and he'd be listening to me recording the vocal in my house, and it was just, yeah. So it's kind of been a mishmash of how we could work over lockdown. that's the sole reason why the band was only involved on one track, because it's a lot of people, some people haven't got the facility to record at home, and we just wanted to, because we've done the streaming as just me and Steve, get it out as quickly as we could, because we just thought, we need to capture the mood of lockdown and why we've done it. So that's why we've just got the band on one song, which is Hurts, because we knew it wouldn't put other people under pressure as well, because we didn't want people to feel pressured to, oh my God, I've got to come over and try and record something and I don't feel comfortable doing that at the moment. So it's a decision that we took. And of course, the way it's been kind of created, Steve's done all the instrumental parts on there. Literally everything you hear on the track, Steve's done. He's pretty amazing, and I'm very, very lucky to work with him. I think the meeting each other as songwriters kind of changed both our lives. I think we were both a bit on the edge of kind of giving up everything. And when I was speaking to his wife, Pat, about this the other day, and she said the same. It was kind of like he was fed up, I was fed up, and I think us both coming together is kind of like, been good for both of us, hopefully. Not just me. Sorry. But yeah, it's just amazing to be able to work with a guy like Steve. So he's worked tirelessly on this. And then his son, Steve Jr., has basically mixed and mastered all the songs and all the tracks, and he's done a fantastic job. I think if this ever gets to show, there you are, if this ever gets to YouTube, there was a bit of a lighting issue there, but if you're just listening on a podcast, ignore what I've just said and carry on. There you go.
Yeah, if anybody wants to see how effective the LED replacement is for a halogen bulb, just
that's not appropriate. Please carry on. We're talking about my music. Thank you so much.
Flick through to minute 7.
People are just sort of like falling off their chairs in dire boredom at the moment. Go on.
Go on. So, yes, you talked about the fact that it was put together remotely. What sort of challenges did that give you?
Well, we've never had to do that before. I mean, gosh, me and Steve now have been working together for a long time. And we get together at least twice a week, unless one of us is on holiday. That's a lot, and it was like a part of my life had just been switched off, and I thought, God, we've got to be able to try and, work with each other. We've got to be able to try and capture, what we want to do. So, sorry, what was the question again?
What challenges did it set you?
I think I'm terrible, my memory's appalling. The main challenge, I think, was the fact that a lot of the time we weren't in the same room. And when you're in the same room, you get that vibe, somebody's doing something and you do something, and it's like, so it was trying to capture that. And it was like, I'd open up a video chat and basically we'd be on there for like, I don't know, 4 hours. So it was kind of like, okay, we're in a working room. This is not just a 20-minute chat about what we're going to do, then I go off and do it separately. So I know Steve hadn't worked like that before. I have with vocal coaching. So I was trying to get some sort of, vibe going between us, and almost like, we're just in a room, Steve. This is going to be, and it was hard. But, it worked. And I think, a lot, because we'd done the streaming, we'd got all the songs and all the arrangements and how they were going to be in our heads anyway. So kind of the hard work was done, because the hard work is knowing what you're going to do, and we did know. So
in the night I thought I'd lose you, maybe. Get out my head, no hurt remains. I put my faith behind the Barbie, baby.
Yes, the plan for the next episode is to cart myself off to the Burkitt Lair and go through with him the process he used to put all the instrumentation together and do all the production and all the other magic, but that's for another day perhaps. So what prompted the choice particularly of the two new ones? Because I know from my own experience, and we've said this before on here, there was a list of probably 20 plus songs that were knocking around at the time of More Sinner Than Saint that didn't make it. For some, really probably because they didn't make the cut, but many because they just didn't fit. And of course, and I've said this again before, you're driving along in the car, you got your iPod on random, and a song comes on, and you sort of think, oh, it's who's this? Oh, it's Rebecca, and oh my goodness, it's that, and oh, blimey, that's good. You know, that's happened countless times in the last 2 or 3 years. So there's always been that pool of great songs, and you probably, you know, there's probably still another, I don't know, 10 or a dozen of those 20 still knocking around there.
And ones from the other albums, and you know.
Yeah, so what?
There's a lot that are quite country as well, quite Americana. And we've always said that at one point we'd love to do, a bit like John Mayer did, like an Americana country album, but let's just leave that there for now. Well, Colin's head's going to explode.
No, the question sits in one of the pieces of writing we've done about this, you know, country album, anybody, ? But what drove you particularly towards those two of the several choices that you probably had that would have fitted?
Yeah, I mean, we went through all songs that we kind of thought would fit on a stripped back vibe. We'd got a number of them, and we were just listening to them, you know, together, separately, and kind of coming up with a judgment that, you know, these two just stood out, but they also kind of captured the, you know, the vibe of the album. But I think we loved the songs. We thought, wow, yeah, we've forgotten about these, and we had forgotten about them. And we both sort of fell in love with them again. And I think we fell in love with them more than the others that we were listening to. And that's just the way it is. It was just our personal choice. As I say, we could have put more on, but it was kind of not really about that. But I'm really glad we put these on, because I really believe in both the songs. But these songs are so subtle that they just wouldn't really fit on one of our studio albums going forward. So I'm just really pleased they've been given a chance for an airing, really, because I think they deserve it.
And when you look at the songs that you've reimagined,
I hate that word.
I know, but I find it comical, really. Talk a little bit about them, and to what extent have you seen them in a different light as a result of playing them in a different way? Is there anything that struck you that way?
I think just like to the core, that they were good, decent songs. I think when we wrote them, we kind of listened back and thought, oh, that's not us, and you know, because it doesn't sound like something that go on one of our studio albums now. And kind of listening to them again, I kind of brought back, you know, like the essence of some of when we got together and wrote songs. Sounded quite similar to this. There was almost like a little bit like, oh, this is kind of like how it all started in a way. So they're rootsy, I think one more than the other, but they're what we're about, which is, you know, the craft of songwriting is something that we're both obsessed with.
Sorry, I was talking about the redone ones, not the two new ones.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I meant those.
God, I'm going on here.
Well, I thought I might have put you in a position where you had to spin your wheels, which was unfair of me. No, I was talking about the other 10, the 10 remixed, reimagined, as I said, ones. I just wondered, to what extent do you look at them, any of them now, in a completely different light as a result?
Oh my God, some of them completely. Like More Sinner Than Saint has come out as a country song. And we kind of just went, some of them, you know, pretty much just acoustic stripped back versions of what they were. And then some just took off on their own and went on a little journey of their own and just sounded completely different. And it made me fall back in love with More Sinner Than Saint, the song, because I've sang it so much as it is, listened to it so much as it is on More Sinner Than Saint, the album. It's really nice to hear it in that guise, and I realised, you know, deep down, there's an awful lot of production on that song, but this is, you know, stripped back, less production, and I think the song really shines through.
one of the things I want to do this week is dig out a video that I took, which we have published on Facebook, so it's sitting there on the page, it just needs resharing again. But it's a video taken in the, I don't know what you call it really, the ante-room of the Iron Road at Evesham, which was basically...
I remember.
Yeah, a room above the venue, or above part of the venue, which was in a sort of semi-disused state.
Semi-destructed, I'd say. It was like destroyed.
But the choir boys, being the choir boys, they had to be provided with their usual backstage largesse, and this was about
They're so rock and roll. I love them so much.
This was about the only place that had the size and scope to set it out. So you'd done your, this was the acoustic tour, so you'd done your set and come off. They'd gone downstairs to do theirs. But the layout of the place was such that we couldn't actually hear them, but what we could hear was the 90s dance music coming from the bar. So we're sitting in this sort of rather dusty environment around tables, you know, in the after. You two are, you know, both sort of coming down from the sort of tension of doing the gig.
You know what it's like backstage, you know, like loads of groupies and I mean,
it's just the three of us.
No, it's just the three of us on some dusty chairs
get carried
with
away.
a cup of tea.
With a cup of tea. And there's this humpa coming up through the floor, and I don't know what could provoke the conversation. I tell you what it was. Steve started to play with your guitar, the famous one that John Caswell gave you, and he was sort of fiddling around with that, and that became a rendition of More Sinner Than Saint. And it started off, and I'll be honest about it, the first sort of mumble through, we were all singing along to it. And of course, you know, me singing along to anything is guaranteed to ruin it. So that was stopped. And then we sort of cleared the decks, and I set up the video, and you both set off to do a one guitar rendition of that, which I captured on video. And that was probably the first time you played that song for 18 months or more.
Yeah, it was.
And you did it cold, one take, and it was just superb. It was a magic moment for me, and that's why I put the video up on Facebook. And that, I can trace the roots of the version of More Sinner Than Saint that we see on the new album back really to that moment. Because I remember you saying afterwards, and making the point as we drove home in the van, you said, well, it started on an acoustic guitar. You know, it was strummed out on that. And I think then I could see, when you started to talk about this, I thought, well, if you can take them all in the same direction as that, if you can do something different.
Always been more sinner than saint. The devil may take me, but I can't wait for him. There must be an angel out there to gather me up, to take some care of me. Way down by the mission, I think I better wake up. This boat's gonna sink in. I'm bound to washed up on the shore. I don't belong here anymore.
The other one I comment on actually is sailing, because the Spanish
flamenco's sailing now, and it works so well, and it just shows you how great an instrumentalist Steve is. You know, I know he can play Indian instruments, he can play, you know, he's just so good, but also so good at kind of visualizing something different about a song, you know. Really is. And that song, I love singing that acoustically. I think I love singing it with the full band, but it's a completely different song done acoustically.
Well, I'm going to put some very short snippet tasters in punctuating this, as well, you probably one or two will have passed already by the time we get to this point, just to sort of warm people up towards it and give them a little vision of what it's like without too much of a spoiler.
It's so cold that I should hold you as you tell me the bad news that you locked away from me, that you're leaving me lonely.
let's just talk a little bit about the other things around the album. We've got the CD album itself. You might like to pick that up and wave it at the camera again for the benefit of the Yao Chow.
Waving it at the camera. There you go.
There you go.
Strip back.
And we also decided this time, I'd like to say by popular request, it's not necessarily popular request, but we've had a range of reactions about lyrics, ranging from requests through to grumbles.
Yeah, when somebody sort of was upset that Hertz's lyrics were, you know, a beetle left to die in the sun. You know, we didn't leave any beetles left to die in the sun. It is simply a metaphor. But yeah, let's pass on from that.
No, I was thinking more about, you know, people saying, well, why don't you put the lyrics in the albums, etc., which is a faff. So we decided this time.
He's trying to squeeze them in as well. It's like
it's
hard.
Yeah.
You'd have to have like an 80-page like CD.
Well, 20-page at least, and but we decided that we wanted to do a little more than that. So we've done a booklet, and those have been it seems to be quite popular thus far, which I'm pleased about. But it's basically a little story of how the album was done, a little pen portrait of each song. So we've finally sort of captured what the original meaning is, although you can always ascribe your own meaning to it. The lyrics, and some absolutely stonking photographs taken by the great Adam Kennedy.
And there's some of me and Ralph on there. Ralph's under the table.
So
he said he didn't want. He said he thought he needed to be more Instagram ready, but I think he looks gorgeous.
I think I'm still negotiating with Ralph on his image rights. I think we're close, but you know, another sort of couple of all-night sessions, and we should have those nailed.
Legalities, darling, legalities.
But talk to us about the photo session, because that was again done remotely and in a rather. I say unique way, but in a very interesting way. So
through the power, I'm just picking up my phone of an app on my phone. And I can't remember what the app is, but I'm sure it's on there somewhere. So through an app on my phone, is it? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, it's an app on my phone that Adam Kennedy asked me to download, and then he takes control of the session through my phone. So he's seeing through my phone, which is pretty incredible, really. Like, that's like space age stuff. Well, it is space age stuff, right?
Well, so he's basically on the end of a phone line. You can speak to him through the app, but that didn't.
I love the way you've jumped into mansplaining it.
Well,
you're mansplaining it.
But people might be interested.
You're mansplaining it.
Well, they might be interested.
Okay.
We'll soon find out. But basically, Rebecca was posing. I was adjusting the position of the iPhone on instruction from Adam through a second iPhone. And what is it? I mean, I just think they're stonking pictures anyway.
Yeah,
by you know, in terms
even
of
for me
composition.
that, you know, generally hates pictures of me.
But in terms of composition, but also the quality is amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it really is. And that's different to the original photo shoot we had with him, which was online as well. And the app wasn't used, it was actually through FaceTime. So this is actually, quality-wise, has really uplifted the images using this new app, this new tool. And I think what's really great about Adam is he's took pictures of me since I started, and I've always sort of thought, wow, you know, he's a great photographer. What's really great about him as well, he's just really laid back. You know, he's really helpful, he's really supportive, but he's one of those people that, you know, he'd always offer his services, but he doesn't like bang on about it all. That, you know, he asks, but he's just, you know, he's kind of his own man, and he's, you know, he's just really polite, really lovely, and I couldn't, you know, I'm really glad to know him.
Hugely helpful, and particularly tolerant in the sense that as far as the album cover is concerned, the front and rear cover, that is a Burkitt Downs Kennedy creation, isn't it? Where you took one of his images and superimposed it on the background.
It's basically to, you know, deliver the point of the album. It's not that we didn't like the image. We loved the images, but stripped back, we needed... By the way, the paint strip effect is a photo that's real. Steve Burkett has taken this photo when he was helping his son strip the wallpaper in the room that's going to be for their new baby. So it's quite nice really that it's an actual, we haven't just downloaded an image of, Google. It's like, it's a real wall. It's a real wall in Steve Jr.'s house. So I think that's really cute.
Yeah, so that's quite amazing, really. And so just to complete the suite of what's available, there's a T-shirt which I'm wearing here for those of you on YouTube. So yet again, I shall be.
I think the red goes with it.
Yes. What do you do in your semi-retirement, Mr. Speller? Well, I am mostly wearing Rebecca Downs.
Honestly, I think if there wasn't any Rebecca Downs, if there wasn't any of my T-shirts, I have no idea what this man would wear.
Well, I'm going to get some wear out of them and
they're all the prototypes.
they're all the prototypes.
The failure T-shirt.
Well, they're right. One or two are unique, so they've probably got some lasting value. Who knows? Not after I've worn them about 15 times. And the other thing, we're offering all of this together in sort of bundles, so you can look on the website and get those. And the final thing on offer is a Zoom call with Rebecca and Steve. 2 or 3 sessions of that available, where you can get your merchandise signed with anything that you would like to say, or feedback, or whatever wisdom you would like put on the merch will be available. So that's stripped back, out on the 9th of April. We'll be feeding plenty more info about it out over the various social media between now and then. And whilst rabbiting on about new albums, we've just completed a reprint of Back to the Start.
Which one is the reprint?
Oh, well.
Oh, it's that one. It's that one. Yeah, I can see it. It's got the new logo on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, we sold everything.
Well,
we'd
that's
ever printed it Back to the Start.
The other one's the last copy we had in our hands that you've got there. That's the last original we've got in your left hand.
It's quite amazing, really. I never thought we'd ever sell everything. It's like.
No, I could tell that because the album artwork had disappeared. So one of the challenges was to recreate as close as we possibly could.
And it is. It's bang on.
The album artwork. Well, and we've taken the opportunity, updated it, and various other things. So. Plenty more copies of that, and it says on Amazon that stocks are low, but we will be getting some more down to them before long.
But try and buy from us, please, and I'll sign it for you.
Yeah, please. Again, as I keep saying,
support independent musicians.
Yeah, always buy from the artist. I know it's available on Amazon, and if you've got an Amazon account, it's nice and easy. But
it's nice and easy from us.
It's nice and easy from us, and if you buy an album for us, we draw a tenner from it. If you buy an album from Amazon, we're lucky to get a $5. And
simple. From any of the online stores,
shops,
the CD,
whatever. Yeah, so all those on eBay currently being offered for 20 quid a pop. Same applies. Do you want to say anything more about the current scenario, the new album, anything going on? I'm not sure.
Yeah. I mean, there's lots going on in the background. There always is. As I say, it doesn't matter what's happening. Me and Steve are meeting twice a week and going over stuff we've got new covers that we're going to put into the live set that we're going through at the moment, and sort of making those our own. So that'd be quite nice. I thought they needed updating. But also, we've pretty much written, we sort of have, the next studio album. That may or may not change as it does. We're also working on something a little bit newer as well. So that may be in between this and the next studio album, but who knows? So I can't really say anything more on that because I don't know if it will actually come to fruition, although I really hope it does. So there's loads going on. I just thank you so much for your support. Hearing the pre-orders come in, and there's been so many. And I know that this is such a hard time for so many people, emotionally, mentally, financially. And I just really appreciate it. I'm really proud of this album. I'm really proud of the fact we did it all in-house. I'm really proud of the amount of work Steve put into it, a huge amount of work. His son doing the mastering and mixing, And I know his son was, you know, kind of sweating about it, thinking, oh my God, you know, I've got to get this perfect. And it's kind of like, I know Steve Jr. and I know his mixes and I know they were great and I know he'd do a good job. And I think, you know, because we had to sort of keep it in-house for many reasons, it's kind of made it a real family project. I do see Steve and his wife as family to me, and without Steve, without the support of his family, without the support of Colin, this wouldn't exist. My amazing band, and of course it's you guys, you know, you just keep me going every time I feel like I'm flagging, and there's been a lot of that over lockdown. One of you guys has written something and it's picked me up. So thank you very much. Thanks to my amazing mom and dad, who are always proud of everything I do. So, you know, I'm very, very lucky, and I'd just like to say that I feel very lucky at being able to do something I love and it to be appreciated. And I hope you all are well. I cannot wait to see you. I'm getting a bit emotional there, so we'll stop there.
Yes, I think that's a nice rousing ending in itself. So, Rebecca, thank you very much for your contribution. Blah, blah, blah. And we will be back probably in 2 or 3 weeks' time, certainly before the release. As I said, my next task is to beard Mr. Burkitt in his den, and he can talk us through how it was all actually done. And that will be a bit of mansplaining.
Yeah, there's an awful lot that's gone into this album. I know it says stripped back, but look out for that podcast. It's going to be really insightful.
Well, thank you for listening, and we'll be back with you again soon.
Love you guys. Mwah.
Just blues for us. Never know how much I love.